Today I want to talk about why I love Eurorack, and I will be doing it by demoing a patch that I made on my Eurorack system. But first, let me just say something, a little bit of a disclaimer. I really don't think that Eurorack is for everybody. First off, it's expensive. Secondly, it's quite time consuming. And thirdly, it's easy to get caught up in the gear acquisition syndrome and just gather modules. So think about that before you're getting started. There are plenty of hardware synths out there that are much more affordable, but I really enjoy Eurorack and I want to show you why. So let me play you a little beat that I made. It's a song I'm working on, so I'm actually recording this audio as I'm playing my modules, and I hope to show you why I like it so much. The reason that I love Eurorack is that I'm not quite sure where I will end up. You know, I start somewhere, as you heard me, and then I end up someplace else. And there's also sort of this finality to it. Once I've removed the patch cables, it's quite hard to get back to exactly that place. That at least is something that appeals to me a lot. Not for everything. If I'm just sitting down and I really need to make a track, I'll usually start in a DAW. I might not even use hardware synths to start with. Maybe I'm using them later when I'm layering stuff. So if I don't have time, the Eurorack is not where I'm starting out. But when I use it, I always get kind of amazed by the fluidity of the results, the creativity of the results. Not everything will sound pleasing, not everything will end up in a song, but there's just something with this open-ended journey that is modular. And this is why I love it. The jam friendliness, even though these faders here and knobs are a little hard to reach sometimes, but there's just something very jam friendly. The results feel kind of organic in a sense, kind of living, breathing. And yeah, it's just a world of fun. But of course, with the disclaimer that it's not for everybody and you should really think before you take the plunge. And to take a little bit of a detour, last year I did this video where I showed how I sequence a big hardware synth setup. And in this video I took the RØDE Micro Freak, it's a very small synthesizer, and I ran it through the Eurorack effects and it sounds just lovely. While you can obviously achieve similar results using, say, guitar pedals or software effects. If you want some modular software effects, by the way, go and check out Triad from Plugin Alliance. I bought it when they had a sale a couple of months ago. It's really cool, but regardless, there's something special about having a hardware modular effects rig. Now let's talk about the patch that I had set up here. So what you just heard was a drum beat, I had it sequenced in Ableton Live, and then I had an arpeggio playing. Basically it's the chromatic modules, and there was a pad from the wave state that I sampled into Ableton. What's going on here with this patch? Well, first let me play you it without anything else. This is just the chromatic modules. I have a little bit of modulation set up here on the rampage. So the patch doesn't really sound that beautiful by its own. It's when you add the beat, the pad, that it starts to come to life. So what's going on here with this patch here? Well, what we have is, first and foremost, the kind of most important thing is that I'm CV controlling the octave up and down here using an LFO. This LFO is also controlled with a scatter effect, so it's a kind of a randomization of the speed of the LFO. So it's basically just one VCO, and in order to create this kind of thick moving sound, what I have going here is I'm routing 3 things into the mixer. So if we take a look here, it's just one output running into my mixer and then into the recorder. So what you're hearing is just one output from this mixer. So basically I'm taking, let me follow the cable madness here. First off, I'm routing the filter into this bit crusher unit here. And then I take the crush output and it's going into the mixer. And then I'm pulling it out again, I'm tapping it. So I'm sending a feed into the pulsarizer, which is sort of a distortion unit, and then I'm feeding it back into the second channel. Now, the third channel here is actually coming from the nostalgia delay, and what we have here, if you look at the input, it's coming out of the dystopia. So because the dystopia module is fed by the main signal, I can pull out a second signal here. So it's a high pass signal going into the nostalgia, the delay, and then I'm feeding it back into the mixer. So what you're getting is this thick, basically 3-layered sound, and that's what you're hearing. So thank you for watching this little video. It's kind of improvised, so I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing to the channel for more videos about synths, Eurorack, music production, gear talk, all the good stuff. I hope to see you in another video.